Greetings to all my friends out west. What a day. What an honor to be able to talk to you for just a few minutes about Old Faithful Christian Ranch. Karen and I really wish we could be there. It would be fantastic. But this is the next best thing. So I'd like to share with you a little bit some of my memories of the camp, but also some of what I believe God can do in the future. Psalm 29 says, "Ascribe to the Lord, O mighty ones. Ascribe to the Lord glory and strength. Ascribe to the Lord the glory due his name. Worship the Lord in the splendor of his holiness." That's a great scripture because we need to give and ascribe what God has done. I remember a couple of us going to the old Palisades camp in a winter snowstorm on horses. We rode up in that valley in horses. But when we got there, we looked out over the Palisades campgrounds and we sat down on a rock in the middle of the snow and asked God to give us a camp. And it began right there on that rock. And for me, that began an incredible adventure just to see God bring about not only Palisades, but then finally Old Faithful Christian Ranch. You know, it's interesting to pray for something and then to actually see and actually hear it come to fruition. And that's exactly what happened with Old Faithful. I believe it was definitely in God's will. And over again in my life and in my ministry now back in Pennsylvania, over and over again, my faith has been bolstered. My faith has been strengthened because of the memories and because of the things I saw God do at Old Faithful Camp. When we moved up to Island Park, and that first year when we slept in makeshift tents and makeshift blue tarps, I remember my daughter Tricia saying, "This was the best year ever." Karen and I were saying, "Oh my goodness, this is the worst year ever." We had no facilities, and you remember this, if you were there, you remember the rain filling all the tarps and almost collapsing in on the kitchen and all the heartache we went through. But the kids, they loved it. They thought it was great. And I believe God touched many, many hearts that first year. I remember when Perry came. Yeah, well, there's some memories that you want to forget. No, just kidding. But Perry came, and he and I sat up there one day, and we're trying to figure out where to put the lodge. And we kind of sketched it out on the back of a pizza box. Perry and I like pizza. And I'm hoping that Perry's learned a little bit about construction since then. I know I'm not there to teach you, Perry, but, you know, you might learn a few things on construction over the years. But anyway, we got the lodge and got some of the buildings, and I remember building the bathhouse first with the Jackson Hole Bible, the Community Bible Church, and I saw so many things that would happen that just blew my mind. One miracle upon another. When we needed the money for a well, when we needed the money for electricity, when we needed the money for a cabin, the way the churches and individuals, the way they gathered together was miracle upon miracle. Karen and I would go home at night and almost in tears, just thank God for so many miracles. All so that we could bring about a camp for our kids. But probably some of the greatest memories for me lie around the campfire. Time and time again, we would have marvelous campfires. Maybe some of you remember a fire coming down from heaven with Elijah. We told the story of Elijah, and Perry and I arranged to have fire come down from heaven, and you'll have to ask about that story, but those were amazing times. I remember sharing my testimony the first night, and as I got done the testimony, I was watching God work, and I saw young person upon young person open up their hearts to Christ. There's nothing better than that moment. For me personally, my journey with God, my salvation experience began around a campfire back in Pennsylvania. And it's the same camp that Perry was director of back here. And yet, there was the time when Perry and I went to camp at Old Faithful. And again, we sat there at a campfire site and had one of our speakers come in. And I can remember souls being opened to the gospel, one right after another. So many rich times. So many fun times, too. Time and time again, we would just laugh and laugh and laugh at things going on. Of the super giant mosquitoes, the super giant horseflies. There ain't no place in the world where you find them that big. I remember the flight of Ken McCune to bring a suitcase to his daughter and dropping it from an airplane into the middle of camp and having it break apart. Oh man, such good memories. Save the Queen. Our Water Olympics. I enjoyed them immensely. But all those are incredible memories. My wife and I enjoyed serving no matter how. I'm grateful to Perry and Sandy for taking up the banner and following and taking on the camp and keeping it going. And for the others, for Brenda, a camper that grows up and takes over the program. What amazing that is. Thank you, Brenda. So I leave you all with a incredible encouragement to keep on. There's still lives that need to be touched. There's still hearts that need to be opened to Christ. And God has chosen Old Faithful Christian Ranch to be one of His places where He works those miracles. God bless.